still live on Arts Africa right here on Africa Global Radio. Well, time now, after all the anticipation, we're finally ready, and we're going to be going via Zoom to bring you our interactions this afternoon with our guest. So it's 40 minutes past the top of the hour here in Lagos, Nigeria, 40 past 1. In Joburg, 40 past the hour of 2. And in Addis Ababa and Nairobi, 40 past the hour of 3. Our guest this afternoon is an information security professional with over 13 years' experience with managing and implementing IT strategies and systems. He has worked and served clients in various industries ranging from oil and gas, maritime logistics, education, government, agriculture, and more. As I intimated earlier, he holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Electronics and Computer Engineering from Lagos State University. Oh, and get this one, he is a certified ethical hacker. Something I'm going to be delving into with him. He is also a certified information security expert. I mean, when it comes to IT, it goes on and on and on. But he also holds several leadership certificates from the International Business Management Institute. That's all the way in Berlin, Germany, and Harvard Business Online. He currently is the Chief Executive Officer at Trade Father Nigeria Limited, or better still, as it's spelled, Trade Father. You know how our Niger people do it. It's a digital assets trading company, and he also serves in various capacities on the boards of a number of organizations. This afternoon, it is our great pleasure to bring you Seun Dania. His full name is actually Seun Dania, but you know how they always shorten it. So, Seun Dania, IT professional and a film maker. Of course, as I intimated earlier, this afternoon we're going to be talking about his newest one, Nimbe, which talks about drug abuse with children and, of course, making choices. Seun,
Hello, Benjamin. How are you doing?
I'm very well. I'm excited already, bubbling all over. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you guys.
Great. So you find yourself in Nigeria. Where exactly in Nigeria are you right now, Seun?
I'm in Victoria Island, Lagos.
Okay, I've never been there, but I've heard a lot about the place, the beauty and everything. Tell us just a little bit about that place.
Yeah, so like you can see my background, it's the beach, even though it's a virtual background. But yeah, it's in Lagos, we have beautiful beaches. It's a very populous city, so there's a little bit of traffic, but a lot of business, commercial activities going on around Lagos. There are a lot of, beautiful places to visit, the beach, nice restaurants, nice bars, nice art galleries. We have museums here in Lagos, and we have very, very wonderful people all over Lagos. So yeah, you should visit one of those times.
You're giving me a very picturesque view of the Victoria Island. You're making my mouth water, and my travel instincts are kicking in already. Have you ever been here to Ghana though?
Oh yes, I've been to Ghana a couple of times. My sister lives in Accra, Ghana, so I visit every now.
Great. Someday we should do some interchange stuff. But let's start with a little bit about you. As I, read your CV, I saw digital exchange there. What's that about? Let's start from there.
Okay, so TradeFather is a digital exchange platform. It's a platform where people can trade digital assets. So like cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Tether, Monero, and Obtainium. Yeah, so we provide a platform where people can actually trade. It's sort of like Forex trading, but, with digital assets.
I see. And among the number of things that I see that you do, you're also a farmer. What do you farm?
So I own a poultry farm with a couple of friends. So it's egg farming and chicken. So chicken lay eggs, and then we sell the chicken and the eggs.
Okay.
So it's an habit to, provide food and employment for people. I know that eggs are a very good source of nutrition and helps to boost the immune system. It's kind of like the cheapest thing that's available, good source of protein for the average person. So we decided to go into that kind of farming so that we can provide nutrition for the whole of Nigeria and, with time, the rest of Africa.
That's a very ambitious one, and of course, you're talking immune system. At around this time when we're battling COVID-19 across the continent, boosting the immune system is everyone's priority, and is one of the cheapest, ways of doing that. So, big ups to you. I just wanted to know about that because, of course, the young people across the continent are all looking for ways of, exploring their talents, honing them, making something of themselves. So it looks like you're one step ahead in that regard. Kudos to you. But let's focus now a bit more on you growing up. Your experiences right from childhood, your brushes, if I may say, with the abuse of narcotic drugs. And I pose that question because of that movie that we're welcoming on July the 24th on Netflix, Nimbe, which has that drug abuse as one of its underlying themes. Tell us a bit about your growing up.
Well, my growing up, I grew up in a community in some parts in Lagos called Ikeja, and Ikeja is pretty much urban. So there's been exposure to there are kind of like places around Ikeja there where people use these substances. And growing up in Ikeja, you pretty much are exposed to it because there's always somebody who knows somebody who's around somewhere who uses these things. So of course, growing up, I experimented. Luckily, I had my mom he's a very strict person who you can't get back home, smelling of cigarettes and expect to get away with it. But of course, we tried, we experimented, and every time we got it wrong, she always, smacking into it. So, but yeah, growing up, I saw a lot of these things. In Ikeja, there is where you have places like the Shrine, where it's good for it's an arts place, music, where they promote music and arts and culture. But you still have a lot of people who hang around there who use cannabis and a little bit of all these other substances. But of course, it's regulated. It's not a public place. But of course, you always have miscreants. You always have people who come around these places and abuse and go beyond. So growing up in Ikeja, I was exposed to seeing all these things. I tried them. I grew up, I met a lot of people who further down the line, they started going off. So I could see the impact of abusing these substances. I saw it firsthand. I witnessed it. I have a couple of friends who kind of like went off, if I may use that, went off. They got distracted, probably got too used to, taking these substances, dropped out of school, they weren't doing so well for themselves. And also I have maybe a couple of people who also just fell off the radar. Nobody knows where they are, what they're doing now. And these are people who had very good potentials. I attended primary and secondary, and then university, I went to the Lagos State University in Lagos. So I witnessed all kinds of things. I met people who typically bad people and good people. And I saw some good people turn bad. I saw a lot of bad people turn good as a result of different results of the environment. And it's something that has always been on my mind, that I've always wanted to tell a story about these things, how it affects people.
Well, you did get that opportunity with that piece you've put out there, Nimbe. We're talking about it shortly, but I just wanted to run by you. So basically, when you look at what happened to you, your stint with drug abuse, you would say that basically, if it hadn't been the sort of environment that you had come through to, you wouldn't have gone through that, or is it just something that you put into the movie?
So as far as the environment is concerned, I believe that no matter even if a child is locked up in their house, they will still get exposed because you have, they will go to school, they'll meet people from different backgrounds and different environments. You really can't protect everyone. You can't protect anybody from, the exposure. So I believe that what it is more about, communicating with the children early enough so they're able to identify what is right and what is wrong. What I see happens is that most parents are usually extremely strict on their kids, and the kids are no longer comfortable talking to them about things. So they end up meeting someone on the outside who seems good to them, because the person definitely will allow them to try out anything they want to try out. And then they start getting closer and building a bond with that person. And then they start drifting away from the family. That's when these issues start to arise. So it's not really much about the background. It's something that's inevitable. It's more about building a connection with the kids. Growing up in Ikeja there, I mean, it's kind of like a street, and then on that street, there's a big community, right? So the neighbors' parents can smack me if they find me doing anything wrong. And so, same way, my mom can also, scold any of my neighbors' kids. So everyone was looking out for each other and looking out for each other's kids. Those things are things that don't happen anymore.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Right here where I'm living now, I probably don't even know I probably don't even know a couple of my neighbors. I know their cars, but I don't even know who's driving them. So everybody is distancing themselves. So there's no way to actually even look out for each other anymore.
Wow.
So I believe, it's growing up for everyone. People will experiment, but it's part of education. It's things that people need to know beforehand, because everybody gets all kinds of information, and especially with the digital age right now, there's a lot of information out there. And, depending on what people consume, it would, have an effect on their actions and things that they involve themselves in.
Well, wherever you are across Africa and beyond listening to us, this is Arts Africa on Africa Global Radio. Our interaction this afternoon, is with Seun Dania, an IT professional and Nollywood filmmaker as well. He has a brilliant piece out that says a lot about society and especially the youth growing up. We're having a discussion with him via Zoom this afternoon on that and matters arising. Well, Seun, I also know you are currently the president of the Bells Secondary Schools Alumni Association, and I know that's an institution you were in between 1993 and 1999 for your O-level West African Senior School certificate. How have you, with growing up and seeing the sort of things you did, how have you been able to infuse that into, this institution, the Bells Comprehensive Secondary School, with those who are now coming, the young people who are aspiring, maybe to be like you or something greater?
Okay, thank you very much. So yes, I attended Bells Secondary School between 93 and 99. So right now I sit on the board. I'm a member of the board of this group of schools, and not just the secondary school, including the university and the primary school. So of course, based on my own experiences as someone who attended, have real life experience, while we are discussing, with the lecturers, with the principals, with the VCs, with other members of the board, remember we have a representative of the Parents Teachers Association, I'm able to give them real life scenario as to how to manage the students, and manage their expectations, because there are a lot of things that the teachers will not know, and there are a lot of things that the parents will believe will be effective, or the school will believe will be effective. So I'm on the side of the students. I'm able to tell them, no, this is a better way to approach these things. Not everything is by the cane or by punishment, But I'm able to, from my own experiences, infuse methods where we can actually have better impact on the kids, how we can regulate their education, how we can make sure they are having fun and also understanding the difference. So what I see that's sometimes lacking in the education system is, in Nigeria most especially, is that we are not given reasons for why we do certain things or why we are asked to do certain things. So I'll probably start from something as little as food that people eat. What it is we read about and we are taught, this is a balanced diet, but nobody's really breaking it down, why you need to eat at a certain time and why you need to eat balanced diets to get the right nutrition and to grow better. So there was a time when, I'll give an example. So there was a time when we were discussing about this and the students were complaining about the ration of the food that they get. Of course, it's typical for the school to always say, no, well, this is okay, no, this is what is it. But when I was able to, come and mediate and explain why those rations are that way, it has properly been checked by nutritionists. Those are the most essential kind of food that is necessary for kids that age to grow properly. And of course, the rations can be excess, because otherwise it will be too much and they'll probably start having complications with their health or growing obese. And I think the kids were able to understand that simply. So sitting on the board of the school, I've been able to, I complement all the efforts that the school is doing, and I'm able to actually mediate between, the teachers, the students, and members of the board.
Now, let me ask you this, right before we start talking about your movie that you've put together as executive producer. How did it start for you, getting into film production? How did it start?
All right, so while I was at the Bells, I was a member of the school choir, and I was also a member of the drama group.
I see.
So art and music has always been something I liked. Of course, I started drifting away from all of that because I needed to. I think the ladies like the guys who were involved in sports. Choir, you had to go and be singing. Anyway, so but of course, it's something that I really liked. So these kind of things are things that people need to understand. What drama, what music it's about, and actually not forcing the kids into, oh yes, you just need to go for choir practice, while they feel all their friends are out there having fun, playing sports. Then at the Bells, we had horses. So we used to ride horses. So while maybe Christmas is coming, the members of the choir group are having choir practice while everyone is riding horses and, having, so of course, a lot of people started. So for me, I've been a part of it. I liked music. I have a very strong passion for music. I actually liked acting and drama. I attend a lot of plays. I also, try as much as possible to read up, watch movies, read books. So even when I started my career in the corporate world, I involved myself in documentary production, for companies, adverts. I used to I have my sister works in advertising. So, sometimes she brings home her work. I kind of like just, take a look at it and advise. So, yeah, this can work this way, this can work that way. So after that, I started developing, film adverts, documentaries for companies, little short clips. And so I started seeing that. I started learning that way. I started learning more about directing and producing for, the corporate sector. So fast forward, I decided, okay, I always had this at the back of my mind. So my co-producer, who is Folari, he came and talked about, he was thinking about something about, drug abuse or, something along those lines. And I said, this would be good. So for both of us, this is our first commercial movie. This is our first movie, basically. This is our first feature.
I see.
So we came together and said, we need to be able to tell this story this way. We need to be able to tell it our way. So I've always been in the drama and a little bit of this thing. I didn't study movies or anything, but just had the passion for creatives.
And look at what passion has turned into. Seun Dania is our guest this afternoon on Art Africa, right here on Africa Global Radio. He is an IT professional and filmmaker. Well, he's veered into filmmaking now. He's a man of many things. He is a farmer as well, a poultry farmer. I was about to get up to some mischief and say, well, you've been in the choir. Let me have you sing something. And I was thinking, Duduke by Simi. But of course, I'm going to spare you that. I do know, though, that according to Simi herself, Duduke refers to the beat of your heart or the beat of a drum. But that brings me to this. Nimbe, the title of the movie that you've come up with, Nimbe. What language is that? And what is the meaning of Nimbe?
So Nimbe is the short for, so just the way we have Oluwaseun, and then and most people call me Seun, is how we have Nimbe. So Nimbe is short for Oluwa Nimbe or Olorun Nimbe. And Oluwa Nimbe means God exists, or God is present. So Nimbe is Yoruba language for exists. So it's the full name is God exists. Just as we have Oluwaseun, which means thank God. So it's Oluwa Nimbe. So normally if you're going to pronounce it, is Oluwambe. Could be called Oluwambe. That is, there is God. God exists.
Wow. God exists. So that's the meaning there. Well, very interesting. Why that choice of, a title for this movie?
So pretty much we wanted to tell the story from our own point of view. And we told that story from the point of view of a young person. I'm a Yoruba person. I grew up in Lagos. My partner, Folari, also grew up in Lagos and Ibadan. So we saw all these things. So telling the story from the view whereby it is our own true experiences. So we decided to choose that name because Nimbe is not a very common name. And it also sounds strongly African. So we decided, yeah, if we're going to do something, we want to actually represent Africa properly. So we took a name that would represent Africa, sounds very African. There's no doubt about it. I mean, even in some part of the south, in the Niger Delta area, there's a Nimbe Creek, so it's something that it's very, very, very African. We wanted it to be clearly distinct and very, very, very African. So it's a Yoruba name.
It is very distinct and very African. I do have a friend called Wimbe. Now, after this, I'm going to have to call him and ask him what his name means because I don't know. It might have some correlation in there. Now, let's delve a bit into this movie. What exactly is it about? So yes, I intimated that it's about drug abuse, it's about the young people, and it's about life's choices. But what more can you tell us about this masterpiece that you've put together titled Nimbe?
Okay, so in a nutshell, typically most people think that drug abuse or drug use is associated with rich people and rich kids. So when it's usually depicted in most of the movies or documentaries that we see, it's always about the rich child, who's probably been spoiled by his parents. But it's not the truth, because at the end of the day, what I've seen, my own experiences, those rich kids actually get influenced by kids from let me say lower income earning homes. So we told this story as a kid from a low income earning home. It addresses drug abuse. It addresses bullying. It's a child who addresses domestic violence, parental negligence. So it's a child who was exposed to, seeing his father always maltreating his mother, talking down on her, and then he gets to school, he's being bullied by other people, by his classmates. So he gets really, really frustrated. And of course, he now ends up meeting someone who, then you see, we also talk about love that people get on the streets, which is why we should not neglect our kids, our friends, people around us, because people on the streets out there are always everybody's always looking for a companion when it comes to doing, whatever ills they want to do. So there's always that little love that's on the streets until you actually get hooked in these things. So we're addressing that. It also addresses rape, which is something which is very, very, very rampant. And
it's becoming pervasive, yeah.
So it also addresses rape, it addresses gangsterism. And we didn't tell the story in making it too, how do I put it? We didn't want to stress it too much. It's an entertaining movie. It's a very funny movie. We also infused all these lessons in the movie at the same time while entertaining people. Because what I found out is while I'm doing advocacy for drug abuse, for rape, or child rights, we always attend seminars, roundtable conferences, we have walks, we write publications. All those things end up in the newspapers or maybe in the evening news for about 20 seconds. And it's gone. And in those roundtables, we have doctors, we have pharmacists, we have people in the healthcare practitioners, basically, and enlighten people. But the message is supposed to go out to the people who are not so enlightened about these things. But that's why we decided to make a movie about it.
Wow.
And typically we try to tell those stories because everyone thinks if it's not comedy, it's not viable. Nobody wants to listen. Nobody's interested in lessons learned. Everybody is promoting. The entertainment industry is seen as always promoting these vices. The entertainment industry is seen as always promoting drug use, always promoting not necessarily rape, but savagery. People talk down on each other. People, it's women. So we decided we want to change the narrative. We can make a movie that's going to be very interesting and also very, educational and can actually make a lot of social impact.
And I'll say I'll say this for a fact, Seun, that from the little I've seen, the little bit from the movie, I have no doubts in my mind that it's going to, make it big out there. In fact, we're just going to take a little bit of a break, and listen to one of the soundtracks. In fact, the main soundtrack from the movie, that is Lumina featuring Mr. Fisher there. We're going to listen to a bit of it, and when we come back, we're going to start delving into the sort of reception, the movie has got. Amazing, and I know you have a lot to share with us when it comes to that one. So we're talking about Nimbe, the movie by Seun Dania, his very first, which delves into the matters of drug abuse, bullying, parental negligence, rape, and more. Let's listen to that soundtrack, the main one from the movie. We'll be right back with Seun Dania.
They say it has to get worse before it gets better. I say it has always been worse, it never gets better. They say a man is not supposed to cry. I say, so do we have to keep our pain in secret? They say sit down and wait for your time. Globalization is the current trend. I say if we sit down and wait for the time, we lose all the fun. As a matter of fact, globalization was invented. In other words, globalization is an organization. Listen to Africa Global Radio. That's where all the best comes from.
Nimbe. Let me tell you the story about a young queen. She a youngin', live a life that's unclean. She started skipping school, hanging with the wrong crew. Sniffing glue, it's the selfies looking all stew. She looking brand new, but inside she struggling. Live a lie, no clue, she call it hustling. Working hard, no focus, this girl is confused. Empty heart, no purpose, she finna break through. She like to float, that feeling, her friends are coke. They dealing, she thinks she fly, she killing. Her dreams alive, she's stealing, she got it so bad. Everything seems complicated, it's hard to see that this life is simply what we make it. Tick tock, she on the clock, life is passing by. Letting go, losing everything, she asking why. This a flashing sign, you don't need no flashing light. Need to get it right so everything don't pass you by. Sometimes it's easy to fake it. Life is everything that you make it.
Nimbe. Never have to walk alone. This life is yours to own. Nimbe.
Sometimes it's easy to fake it. Life is everything that you make it.
Nimbe. Yo. Never have to walk alone. This life is yours to own. He must have been 16 before the incident that switched him from pristine, switched up the routine. He went from video games to street hustling. New thing with a new team bustling, yo. They told him this is how people man up. You first connect with the ring and then you grab a cup. And then they pour you a drink till you know what's up. And then you head for the streets and let them know you the top gun. In his hands, now he wondering what's next. Once he pulled out the trigger, his life now complex. Everything began to spiral, his life a vortex. More sex, more drugs, more booze, anything to climax. Tick-tock, he's on the clock, he's on the block. With his face in his hands, it's life passes by. Letting go, losing everything and asking why. Wishing life had a remote to press rewind.
Sometimes it's easy to fake it. Life is everything that you make it.
And that is Lumina featuring Mr. Fisher there. That's the main soundtrack of the film Nimbe, which actually means there is God. If you want to go to the Yoruba, Oluwa Nimbe. Seun, I hope I've got my Yoruba on point.
Yeah, you're doing well.
I'm trying the little I can. You know, my own family has had stints in Nigeria, so it's just that I was so little that I could pick up very little of the Yoruba or the Igbo. But I guess someday it's something I should pick up. So let's get back to our movie for the day, Nimbe, There is God. Now, I hear from our interactions with you, the response to the movie was crazy. Let's start from here. When you were putting this together and you wanted it to, come out and all of that, like you said, this wasn't comedy. This wasn't the usual thing that you'd put out on the market, Nollywood circles and all of that. You met some resistance, didn't you? Tell us about that.
Oh, yeah. So starting off the movie, it sounded like a terrible idea. So let me, a little bit of background myself, I'm always selling something, My mom is a trader. So I grew up in a family. I have grandma. My grandma is a trader. My great grandma is a trader. So anyway, basically, even while growing up, I was always selling something, So all my friends know me that Seun is always coming up with something, So coming up with a movie idea seemed, a lot of my friends shut it down. Like, Seun, why are you doing this? And then especially the fact that it was a movie that's now addressing drug abuse, not the typical. Because if I said, I wanted to do something big or something, nice comedy or whatever, everybody said, okay, yeah, they could see the commercial viability in it. But this seemed more like a social cause, So yeah, a lot of resistance. Friends actually told me, a friend actually said it might end up with a room filled with just your DVDs and nobody's going to watch it, because you can't just come out, So a lot of people said, I needed to partner with some of the big producers, or I needed to, just sell the idea to somebody or partner with somebody, let them make it because they already have a name. So there was a lot of resistance, but of course we decided this is something that we want to forge ahead with. I got a lot of support from, of course, my family, and then a couple of other friends who said, yeah, you could go on with it. I got a lot of support from my previous bosses at Niger Delta Exploration. They also supported the movie, both financially. Was a lot of support from people, my colleagues at work, and everybody said, yeah, sure. I mean, let's do this, because in the oil and gas industry, where they're very used to corporate social responsibility and need to actually make an impact in the host communities and the environment generally. So I mean, I got a lot of support from the workplace, my colleagues, and everybody. So I was like, okay, let's go on with it. So of course, first step was, let's raise money. So now the idea is there. People that say, yeah, you can go for it, do it. So raising money became something else. Family was typically family, friends. Friends, a couple of sponsors. From the workplace, and we went on with it. On and on and on and on. Yeah, and after that, the movie was done. We watched it, produced, edited. It was fantastic. The next step was, where do we go from here? So we needed to get into the cinemas. So there was a lot of
and of course, let's talk a bit about the premiere, because something else that is exciting, happened there. Even some of the crew didn't show up.
Yes, a lot of the crew members didn't show up. A lot of them did.
Wow.
So the major challenge in movie industry in Nigeria is a lot of movies get made, but they never get out there. They never get public. They never get to the public. So or maybe they just end up maybe on YouTube, or they end up they never make any traction. So the movies that actually make any buzz out there are movies that are done by the big production houses or have a huge backing by the big distributors. So we're going to release the movie after getting a good date and everything. So we said, we're going to move it. We're not just going to release it like the average Nigeria movie, because it's known fact that it's only the big producers who actually have any movie premieres, because everybody feels it's a waste of money. But we said, it's also part of the marketing. It's part of the plans that we've had. So we decided, we're going to go with it. So we had it. It was big. A lot of people came from within Nigeria, outside Nigeria. My sister came in from Ghana with her friends. I had, people flying from South Africa. I had people from different parts from Abuja, all around Nigeria, and it was a huge success. The star actor was present, and some of the other members of the cast, my colleagues, my friends, my family members, my mom, aunties, uncles, everybody. It was really packed.
You could say it was a bit of a shocker for those who felt that this was going to tank, that you wouldn't achieve anything out of it. The typical wet blanket. It turned out pretty different.
It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. To say that we were able to actually, because I've been to a couple of premieres in Nigeria, so even some of the known producers, everybody just does a little red carpet, a few people come and go, and that's it. Sometimes nobody even notices there's a premiere going on. But this, we shut down the entire mall where the premiere was happening, where you had the cinemas. And then, of course, on the social media, people who attended, it was beautiful. It was a very glamorous event. People came, people had fun. There was enough to eat and drink. It was, it felt like it was Hollywood, So everybody kept asking, there were a lot of media houses who came. Some was last minute, probably when they started hearing about what was going on and how it was going to be happening. So before the premiere, we had a couple of events. We had a painting event, kind of like also to get people aware, where we made paintings, say no to drugs and all of that. So we had a few events before the premiere. So I think that also helped a little bit.
Now let's talk about.
Exciting.
Yes, let's talk a bit about the success you speak of with regard to this movie. Now, in terms of recognition, in terms of impact, what would you say Nimbe has achieved up to this point? I know the movie has actually won awards already in Nollywood and internationally with regard to film festivals and all of that. Tell us a bit more about that.
Okay, so from the get-go, while we're producing, and then working on it after producing, like I said, I attend a couple of events. I also work with a few people within the health sector in Nigeria. So while we were talking about this whole drug abuse, we had a very good support system in the name of one of the previous senators, Senator Larry Tejosho. He was the chairman House Committee on Health, and we spoke to him about it. We talked, and he, after he watched it, read the script, and understood what we're trying to do. The Senate actually gave us an endorsement for the movie, which I believe is something that actually, gives credibility, gives credence to the message and the narrative that we are passing, which is, it says that it's in line with the government's response to drug abuse and part of the government's. It's that alone is very comforting. When we had the premiere, we had the National Orientation Agency also. They on their Twitter page, they helped us with marketing. They also labeled it, after they watched it, they labeled it, as a movie that promotes attitudinal change, this is a government agency that's number one agency for orientation, national orientation. And, they don't normally support movies or promote movies, but because of the content and the substance of the movie, that alone was huge, was very huge. We were really glad about it, so they helped us, with promotions while the whole movie was out, because they saw that for people to actually take up their own time and their own efforts to talk about national issues. And let's not forget that, in Nigeria, we have statistics show that we have over 14 million people out of a population of about 180 million. We have over 14 million people who abuse substances. It is an epidemic in Nigeria. And so for people to actually come out, nobody wants to talk about it, but for people to actually come out, take it upon themselves and say, yes, we are not doing a commercial movie. We're not just here to want to come and make movie. We want to actually make an impact with it. And there's a huge narrative behind it. So we'll get to that. So yes, afterwards we submitted so there's one of the biggest movie critics, on Instagram in Nigeria, so I don't know if it's a he or she, but the critic actually, after watching the movie, gave us 5 stars. Like, okay, and that actually even
raving review.
Very fantastic review. So that even triggered some of the other members of the cast to send messages. And like, wow, because sometimes in Nigeria, let's not lie to be very honest, most of the actors and actresses, they do their parts, act their scenes, and they go. Some of them don't even get to see the movies that they acted in, or don't even get to follow up and see how far the movie has gone. So, but of course, with the reviews coming online, so a lot of them reached out, and then, they started promoting. So everybody came on board, saying that, oh, wow, this movie really makes sense. It really came out. And so made a lot of impact. I think I just need to ensure that Kelechi Udegbe was very fantastic with, helping us in terms of going from cinema to cinema. Even the actor, we went for a lot of media rounds together. Toyin was pregnant at the time, but she did a lot of online promotion. Brother Shaggy also, Seun Dania did a lot of publicity up in the north. Everybody was on ground. Everybody started, because they are seeing what we had done and the impact that we're already making. So internationally, after we did the cinema run, we applied to a couple of film festivals, one of which was the Toronto International Nollywood Festival, where we got 2 awards. We also got Best Nollywood Drama, and Tony Abraham also won Best Actress in Nollywood Drama. We also at the UK International Nollywood Film Festival, and some local festivals here. There's one in Kenya, Lake Pan-African International Film Festival, and it's a real-time film festival here in Lagos.
I guess many more. So basically, this has been a great success on that
online film festival. Yeah, so there was a huge acceptance. It was very, very, very huge acceptance. So for us, if not for anything, the fact that we're able to create impact, and the narrative alone is, there's so many people in Africa who want to tell these stories, but they are worried about being able to get platforms that will show their movies or show the product, whatever it is that they produce. So we have been able to change that narrative and let people know that, if you make a good movie, you can get a slot in the cinemas if the movie is good. you can also get on Netflix. Because a lot of people feel, well, Netflix only takes certain kind of movies. So, the conspiracy theorists will say, some of these places have, certain agendas that they are pushing. But Nimbe is completely different from available out there. So,
yet it's been accepted. And I was going to get into exactly that. And of course, here at Africa Global Radio as well, we also support that when it comes to the creative arts, especially with regard to, productions and all of that. So you could also get in touch with us wherever you are, especially if you're a young person listening to us, or find ways of making that dream come true. But what next for the Nimbe film? I see that it's launching on Netflix on the 26th of this month. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so it's going to start showing on Netflix worldwide from the 24th of July, which is Friday, next week Friday. And so as part of the plans for Nimbe, the actual strategy was or is to have public screenings. So we've been in talks and we've gotten some, level of we've gotten some response from the Lagos state government. Prior to the COVID-19, we were in talks about having public screenings in all 57 local governments in Nigeria. But COVID-19 struck. But before then, we had a screening in Babcock University, the King's College Old Boys Association, while they were having their anniversary, they actually also, sponsored a screening for all the students in King's College. And there have been a couple of other schools here in Lagos that we've actually had screening. And also the school where we shot, some of the scenes, the location that we used, also had a screening there. So before the COVID-19 struck, our plan was to have public screenings, in different local government areas all across the country. But of course, because of nobody is able to gather anymore, at least not in the near future, at least as far as we know, and we also had an international sales agent who was working on, we're close to concluding a deal for a US premiere, which was supposed to have the movie showing in about 600 cinemas in the United States. But yeah, COVID-19 struck and all of that can't happen anymore. So let's give Netflix a shot because most people, we see the numbers of subscribers on Netflix shot up since the beginning of this COVID-19 pandemic. And of course, we believe that is a very, very good platform to reach out to not just people within Nigeria and Africa, but the whole world. So we're able to showcase the kind of messages that we want Africans to tell, the kind of messages that people around the globe can see that Africans are also, that we can tell serious stories. We're not only comedians and we're not just only comedians. We also are able to tell very serious stories that actually address issues around that affect us directly. So it's the recognition has been good. It's been good. We're still very much in talks with the Lagos state government. We're seeing how we can get it, to everyone because the truth is not everybody in Nigeria or and across Africa has access to video on demand, has access to data or smartphones. So we're working, we're in talks, seeing how we can actually partner with the Ministry of Youth and Social Development and get it to terrestrial TV, get it out there to a lot of people. But right now, during the COVID-19 pandemic, the state government has really, really done a lot of work in making sure that education is passed out to students are not lacking. So in terms of, they're making sure there are a lot of educational programs on TV and on radio. So for those who do not have, schools are not able to provide online, like the public schools, if they cannot provide online tutoring. Even if they were to provide online tutoring, a lot of people cannot afford to have computers with internet and all of that. So so it's part of what we're working on. Since they have that initiative, we think this is a good medium for them to also partner with us and then show it. So those are the plans.
Speaking of that medium, I just want to say that it's a very good thing that you've put together this this movie. And here's the thing, it resonates. You were talking about the statistics when it comes to Nigeria and drug abuse. Well, it cuts across Africa. Huge chunks of the youth mired in drug abuse, no work. They are, feeding on drugs literally, and a lot of them are wasting away. So the thematic areas of Nimbe, basically being drug abuse, bullying, parental negligence, which is also very important, and rape. And all of these you will find not just in Nigeria, not even just in Africa, but across the world. But as we wrap up, I just wanted to sneak this by you very briefly, owing to time. If someone else wanted to follow in your footsteps, a young person wanted to follow in your footsteps, what would be the little tidbits of advice that you'd give that person?
So the tidbits are, and a lot of the little things that I learned while doing it, your ideas might not always, you have to learn how to package your ideas, because your ideas might not always resonate. It might be a fantastic idea, but it might not always resonate with everyone. So while you're going to put out a product out there, you should also remember that finances need to go into it. And for you to get those finances, you have to be able to tell the story to see how other people see it. It's not enough to say, oh yes, I want to talk about drug abuse, I want to talk about rape, and then you expect everybody to jump on it. You need to be able to understand how that affects maybe the corporate organizations or government. And so there will be a lot of disappointments, but consistency and perseverance, I believe, is very key. And of course, for every young person and everybody out there, even young and old, according to Mahatma Gandhi, you have to be the change that you expect to see in the world. Yep. So when people see that you are talking about drug abuse and talking about you are advocating for certain causes, people need to be able to see it in you. That you actually mean well, and it's not just the means to an end. Because at the time I was working in oil and gas. That's probably one of the highest paying industries in the country. So it wasn't primarily to make money or I didn't want to be famous or anything. It's more about passing that message. Okay. And when you use the proper way, the fame and the recognition will come.
All right.
Basically.
So contribute your bit, do what you can, and, God will find a way of watering you as well, blessing what you've done. But we have a tradition on this show. You just took me, by surprise there with that quote by Mahatma Gandhi, be the change you wish to see. We have a tradition on this show, and it is this. At the tail end of every show, our special guest gives us a little quote. I don't know whether you'd like to give us something else, something that we can latch onto for the rest of the week by way of a little quote. It can be anything. Maybe even if you got something from Nigeria, that would be beautiful. And tell us what the meaning is. Okay, so
let me think of. So I'll give you something that is a Yoruba adage, which is more which means know the child of whom you are. And I believe it's something that cuts across the rest of Africa, in terms of parents, families, communities, everybody wants, you need to always remember where you're coming from in order to see a clear picture of where you're going to. So when you are from a good family or, a good community, you are an ambassador of that family, you're ambassador of that community, you're ambassador of your country, wherever it is that you go to. So we should always carry ourselves in a very good light. So in the Yoruba, it says, more, yeah, that is what it is. Because my mom always says that. You have to know whose child you are, basically.
I really need to get my Yoruba on. And Seun, I think I'll be coming to you for classes.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready whenever you're ready.
Great. Seun, it's been a great pleasure hosting you this afternoon all the way from right here in Accra, Ghana, and you on Victoria Island. Thank you so much for actually joining us for this Zoom session. We're immensely grateful, and don't think this will be the last. We're going to keep interacting with you. We're going to be following up on what exactly happens with Nimbe and other productions you're going to come up with, and we wish you the very, very best. Come the 24th of July, we're going to be connecting
Friday
on Netflix.
Friday, get your popcorn, your weekend. That'll be your weekend movie. They start Friday night, start showing Friday, and watch it all weekend with the family. It's a family movie, so it's a movie where parents and their kids can watch together with family, with friends. It's fantastic. Trust me, everybody would love it, and everybody will begin to reflect, and the conversation will start from there.
Thank you so much.
Major aim. Start talking.
Seun,
all right, thank you very much.
Wish you the very best, and you take care.
Global Radio. Yes, take care. Have a blessed day.
And that is Seun Dania. He is an IT professional and now a filmmaker as well. He has that one out, Nimbe, which, in the Yoruba actually means God exists. It's from the full thing, Oluwa. Nimbe, Oluwa being God, and Nimbe meaning exists. And Nimbe talks about drug abuse, bullying, parental negligence, rape, and more. It's on Netflix on the 24th of July onwards, so you can actually catch it from there. This is where we draw the curtains. We wrap it all up this afternoon on Arts Africa, right here on Africa Global Radio. It's been a great pleasure actually hosting you this afternoon. And don't you forget, you can actually check out the feed at AF Global, that is on Twitter and Instagram. If you missed it, you can actually check out the feed from there. And Africa Global Radio, that is on Facebook. Well, until next week, when we come your way with the next installment of Arts Africa, we'd like to say goodbye to you, ta-ta, and of course, don't you miss out on the rest of our programming. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. We leave you with this one, another soundtrack from the movie. It's by Titus. It's titled, I Have a Big Dream. How big is your dream?
Mwatipeza kuno kwa Africa Global Radio.
I have a big dream to be someone important, not to be a nuisance in the society I come from. Now chasing my hand, prison yard is my home now. They can try off my mama eyes when she see me end up this way. Know the company you keep, know the advice you stick on. Drug life can never build your destiny, but only destroy your destiny. I wish that I could turn back the hands of time. I will say no to drug life. I wish that I could turn back the hands of time. I will say no to drug life. Now chains in my hand, prison at my home now, sorrow at my doorstep, nobody to save me. The hero on his way to Zion, the hero on his way to Zion. Now chains in my hand, prison at my home now, sorrow at my doorstep, nobody to save me. The hero on his way to Zion, the hero on his way to Zion. That I could turn back the hands of time. I will say no to drug life. I wish that I could turn back the hands of time. I will say no to drug life.
I absolutely love listening to Africa Global Radio. Please guys, keep listening. Let's keep Africa going.